What is going on, soccer fans? Welcome to the fourth episode of the Soccer Shots Greater Hartford, Central Connecticut podcast. My name is Seth Walerziak, and this is my co-host, Shannon Perry, who is the owner of the Greater Hartford, Central Connecticut Soccer Shots franchise. Shannon, how you doing today?
I'm great, Seth. A little bit warm today, but
Just a little bit.
but feeling good. Excited to get into it here. So
Yes.
yeah, let's roll, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now it's definitely getting very hot. It's gonna reach 90 today, so definitely some hot temperatures out there. But no, I'm excited about today's episode. But before we talk about that, I do want to talk about last week's episode and what you thought about it, our last episode, our building confidence.
Building confidence. I've had a lot of fun with that, Seth. That was a great topic, and since I've been out on the soccer island since then, I've thought a lot about it with kids I've been working with, and how can I get a particular child to be more confident or just looking for ways and celebrating their victories even. So I've just really been paying attention to that. But great topic, and just that's kind of what we're about here is building confidence and learning. So yeah, awesome topic.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, I completely agree. I thought it was really interesting to talk about. I thought we got into some great points, had some great questions and answers there. So yeah, I thought it was awesome. So
I just one comment, if
go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking, so often we want to, have them be confident doing a soccer shot skill, but what I've been finding is if I can find different areas of confidence, whether that's getting them to be confident to run really fast or act out, then you can in bringing that into their soccer skill. So wherever you can find an opportunity where they're not feeling brave or as confident as they can be, and then once they get the momentum, it's fun to say, but just connecting with that kid, and you can tell they kind of look at you, or they look at their mom or dad, they're not sure whether they can do it, and they go, and then you kind of celebrate each step. So thanks for making me a better coach, Seth.
No, I mean, you've made me a better coach, so I gotta say that. I mean, I just thought we had really good discussions in that podcast, and just honestly learned a lot and just thought about a lot when it comes to developing confidence in our youth, which I think is always very important. But yeah, I would say without further ado, let's get talking about today's episode, which I'm really excited about. I know you're really excited about. We have a special guest with us today who we're going to bring into this call in just a minute. He is one of our seasoned veteran coaches, probably one of our longest tenured coaches with us right now, if you were to say. One of our top coaches, great guy, and I'm excited to have him on the podcast, Diego. So let's get Diego into the call. Anything you want to say about Diego before he joins us?
Well, I don't know how long Diego has been with us. I should know that, but I know Diego consistently does 200 to 250 sessions in a season. So if Diego's done several, easily over 1,000 sessions since he's been with Soccer Shots, maybe even more. So he's seen it all, and he's got quite a background, and he's he's got some own creative things he does out there, and so Diego Ortiz is a legend among the Soccer Shots coaches, to say the least.
Absolutely, yes. Let's Oh, I think here he is, right on time. Let's add him to this call. All right, should be joining us any second now. I think here he is. Let's give it and there he is. Coach Diego is here, everyone.
The coach, the legend, Diego Ortiz. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Diego. I'm sorry, Seth. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna ask him how he was doing today. That's all. How you doing today, Diego?
I'm good. I'm glad the weather's finally sort of starting to clear up. I mean, we've had like so many Saturdays this season that have been getting wrecked with rain. It's just like
Yeah,
it's like Mother
seriously.
Nature's like purposely picking on us like on that one Saturday.
Nah, for real.
Yeah.
It's been very frustrating these Saturdays, but we're getting through it the best we can. So
Totally, yeah.
yep.
So Diego, I don't know what you could hear. Well, in the green room, in the great green room they have, but I was describing you as someone. You've coached so many sessions with us. One day we'll do the math, but it's probably been 1,000, 2,000 groups over the years. And so maybe you could, for our listeners, just tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of where you're from, how you got to Soccer Shots, and kind of your story a little bit. Just a lot of parents don't know, but probably are wondering because you get followed around. You have your little parade of Diego followers.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Long Island, New York. Basically spent most of my life over there. And then I graduated high school from Locust Valley High School in 2019. I went to Springfield College then. I spent my whole life enjoying soccer, really. My dad is from El Salvador, and I'm the first son. So, like, there wasn't really any exposure to, like, any other sports. It was just, like, soccer, 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 soccer until, like, my brother and sister were around. And then he kind of, like, oh, lacrosse, oh, this and that. So for me, it was really just soccer. Most of my life, I played on a travel team and stuff until around high school. I started wrestling, and then that kind of like took a second leg to soccer. I ended up getting hurt because of it, so I didn't play sports for the last like 2 years of high school. I didn't really do anything because I was recovering from surgeries and stuff. So then, since I was never really going to go back to wrestling, I always knew I still wanted to do something with soccer. So if I couldn't really like play as good as I used to, coaching and being involved with the kids and helping the next generation of kids was the next best step. And I love it. It's awesome. I went to school up in Springfield for a bit, did a semester, and then I couldn't really do the online school stuff. So I moved down to Miami with a couple friends, and then that was the start of coaching. I started coaching for a different company first. And then once I moved back to Long Island with my family, we all together moved to Connecticut to the Hartford area, and then I found Soccer Shots, and it's been going good ever since then.
Oh, awesome,
What-
awesome. What makes Long Island to Connecticut, and maybe with a couple of stops in El Salvador in between. So yeah.
Hold on once. Sorry, Shannon. I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to bring this up. Wait, Diego, you went to Springfield College in Springfield, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
How did I not know this? I went there.
Did you?
I went to Springfield College. How did I not know this?
Did you go also the fall 2018?
Yeah. Fall.
Are we the same age?
I'm 24.
Okay, no, you're a year older than me.
I was fall 2018 I graduated in 2022. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I only went for that one fall semester right before COVID started.
Oh, okay.
Because
okay.
I took a leave of absence then right when COVID started because I knew that I wasn't going to be doing good with the online classes. It would have been horrible for me. And then I also donated my liver to my mom, so I took the leave of absence mostly for that too. And then when I tried to go back, they were like, "Yeah, you filled your papers out wrong. You can't come back." So,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well,
wow.
Yeah. I would appreciate both of you not talking about when you graduated, because for me, like 1918, and but it's fine. I used to have a coach say that's why the ball is round, because in soccer or in travels, you always run into people you cross paths with, or maybe met just as a plug for Springfield College. Over the years, we've had several Springfield College folks come through, have all been phenomenal coaches, albeit your stay was a brief one there. Diego. So yeah, but
Definitely
that's kind of cool that you two have
definitely a place where the
mentioned.
athletes go over there.
Big sports school. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
big sports school.
Big sports school. Yep.
All right. What Diego? What position? Because I know what position you played, but I'd love for you to tell the listeners how tall you are and what was your soccer position?
For anybody who already knows me and might be watching, I'm not that tall, but I was a goalkeeper. Yeah, I don't know how that. Well, I do know how, but I was in like third grade, second grade, and it was my travel team. We were in the Long Island tournament. I think it was like the semifinal or the quarterfinal of it, and our team goalie got hurt. Nobody else wanted to play goalie, so I volunteered as tribute. And then I saved 2 penalties in that game. We ended up going to penalty shots. I saved 2 penalties, and we won the game. And then from there, it kind of just stuck. Everybody was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put Diego in goal," and it worked out for there. Everybody, my Spanish friends would call me El Conejo as kind of like a call to the Mexican goalie, who that was his nickname. Also a short guy, but he was short, but he was still really good at goalie. He could jump really well, knew the game well enough to position himself and stuff where he could make shooters shoot the way he wanted them to, not the way they wanted to. Just he's like one of my favorite goalies.
Okay.
You're not
like
short,
that.
Diego. You're vertically challenged.
Fun size.
Fun size. Just out of curiosity, though, before we get into soccer shot stuff. So you're El Salvador. Your family's from El Salvador.
El Salvador, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Okay. So as far as national teams, do you follow the El Salvadorian national team? And who's El Salvador's biggest rival in the maybe CONCACAF or in those kinds of leagues?
Not
it's United States.
They haven't really been that great ever, really. I mean, if you look online, I'm pretty sure like the record of like the most goals scored in a game was against El Salvador. They let up like 12 goals or something like ridiculous like that. It was like 13-0, like 12-0. Yeah, but they are very, very good at beach soccer. They won the beach soccer World Cup a couple times.
There we go.
So they are good there, but internationally I support America, and then if anything, if Mexico's doing good and United States isn't, then I switch. But it's mostly United States.
Okay.
I'm a big Christian Pulisic
So
fan.
United.
Oh, fair.
Okay.
And Tim Howard was a goalie. I'll never forget that game against Belgium when he set the world record for goals saved in the game. Yeah, he still has that record. Crazy.
Yeah,
it's held by an American goalie, of course. Like, we're so bad at everything, but he's got that record.
Yeah, never forget that game.
Absolutely phenomenal game. So Diego, what makes you? What do you think about yourself that makes you such a popular and great soccer shots coach? What is it about Coach Diego? If a parent or kid's never been with Coach Diego, yeah, what makes you special? Because you are one of our special ones.
I think that at least at park sessions and stuff where parents really get to see what's going on, I think they really appreciate how I level with the kids, I guess. Like, not, when I'm speaking to them, maybe squat down, speak at their level, or use a different tone of voice. Like, I never really use like my regular voice like this. I always tone up my voice to like, I don't know, like it's like the Wiggles and stuff, like how they always like excited and stuff, and you gotta be animated, because if you stay animated, then the kids are gonna be animated with you and they have a good time. But if you're just like moping around, like shoulders slouched, and like you're bouncing around the field and stuff, it shows that you kind of don't want to be there, and then the kids won't want to be there also. So I mean, I love being there. It doesn't even really feel like I'm working. So like, I'm having fun. If I'm having fun, I'm sure the kids are having fun too. So that's really my methodology of it.
Yeah. So like I always ask this question of coaches when they come through is, all right, it's 15 years from now, and our kids that we're coaching are 20 years old, and they get together and they have their own little soccer shots reunion, and they say, oh man, Coach, what are they saying about Coach Diego? Is that kind of what they're saying? When they're at their reunion, remember their first experience?
Hopefully, what they'll be saying is pointing at the TV and saying that used to be my coach. Because the dream is, I want to stay coaching forever. The dream is to, make it some the MLS, Liga MX, any of those leagues. If I could be the first American coach to coach Barcelona or something, forget it. You know what I mean? Or any of those teams. Like that's the dream. That's the dream.
That's awesome.
Make it to the big stage.
So you basically, what I'm hearing you say is you're creating your own little thing. You're creating your own players for later. So we gotta watch Diego. He's got his own little.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my squad ready.
He's creating a talent pool. Diego Soccer Academy.
I'll create my own national team. We'll take over. Yeah. They'll take over that way, starting in Connecticut.
So what is it that you like about coaching? What is it about coaching? How you got into it when you're out there? Because we all have challenging days and tough groups sometimes. What is it like? I just love to get out there and coach. What is it that makes you want to do it?
There's a bunch to it. I think one would definitely be like knowing you're making a difference. Like with a lot of the kids, like, I'll have parents come up to me and tell me like, oh, Mike, like, he was saying how he has to use his listening ears because Coach Diego told him to use his listening ears. So now he's listening better at home. Like stuff like that. Like, even if it's not soccer stuff, I'm making a difference in helping these kids, become good kids and stuff like that, which is super rewarding. And then with the soccer stuff, it's really, really awesome to see the process of like, some of the kids would come in the beginning of the season and it's their first time kicking a ball or they've never even been to an organized practice before. Like, they have no clue what's going on. And then by the end of the season, they're in the scrimmage at the end of the practice, dribbling around everybody, doing a pullback or, passing the ball or shielding. And, it's awesome. You can see that they're enjoying it, but they're also learning too. It's not just silly, goofy, running around for no reason. They're picking things up, which is awesome to see that process work its magic.
So you get a lot of personal reward from kind of seeing that growth. And
absolutely.
Making that impact. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So one of the things, Diego, with you is you coach all of our kind of age groups. We have our minis program, which is the 2-year-old, and then our classic program for kids. I think you're in all those buckets more than any other coach. How do you coach differently within those? From the 2-year-old kid to the 7-year-old kid. What do you
I think the biggest thing is like,
because obviously you can't do the same things necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing is like setting expectations, like knowing who like you're dealing with, and even where, like, maybe there's some towns where like I know I have this one group where one town the kids are, they might as well be 10 years old and playing in travel already, but they're 5. And then, you go 30, 40 minutes away and then you really kind of like have to focus more on the skills and really get in there and teach them instead of letting the game teach itself. So you got to, know who you're with. And then also the age groups. It's like when you're with the 2-year-olds, they're 2. They're just learning all these big words and everything. They can barely understand what shielding might be or anything. So I really kind of just focus on, for the first couple weeks, like more motor skills, stuff like that. Like, maybe their first time even trying to stand on one foot, stuff like that. So like, I kind of just take it easier with the 2s. And then once you get to the 3s and the 4s, you introduce the soccer words, a little bit more passing, control, shielding, all of those, like try to get them to remember it. And then with our premier age, the oldest ones, I kind of just like to let the game do the work with that age. Kind of just like give one instruction, because there's always going to be one kid who always gets it no matter what in every group. So I kind of just like enjoy having that kid kind of teach the rest of the group. Like, it's like if he's super good at passing with the inside of his foot. He can turn his foot well. I'll kind of just, the kids won't be able to get it for a minute, but the one kid will get it. They'll see that he's doing it, how he's doing it, and then they kind of pick it up off of him. Oh, this is how you do it. And sometimes it's easier for kids like that instead of having coach, right in front of you telling you, no, it's like this, or no, you're doing it wrong. Because when they hear it like that, it gets them sometimes. So it's cool to see, like, them learning it like that. And, like I said, letting the game teach itself, just because soccer is I say this all the time, monkey see, monkey do sport. Like, you don't really have to use a lot of words. Like, you could go to, like, Rome in Italy, not speak a word of English or of Italian, and play a game of soccer with people just because it's the easiest thing. You just put the ball down and you do the same thing with each other. Like, no words need to be exchanged. And I think that's, part of the beauty of the game, like stuff like that.
Yeah. Seth, I don't know if you want to respond to that. A couple of thoughts for me come to mind about that specifically. I was with a parent the other day whose kid was probably a little bit more advanced and older for this particular group, was on the end of it. And I suggest, maybe he goes with some slightly older kids because they follow other kids sometimes as much as anything, and resisting the urge sometimes to coach rather than have them watch somebody. Kids watch kids also as much as they watch adults, right? And
absolutely.
And so I suggested that I've had younger kids or less, and you put them in a slightly older group just to keep up with the other kids, because they'll be bored with the younger kids. But that's an interesting thing. I think as coaches, sometimes we don't have to necessarily do all the coaching or showing if we've got, some other ones right here to help us out. Do that.
Totally.
Interesting. Seth, I don't know. You've coached a lot of the, all over the board also this season and last minis, classic and premier kid, premier being our older kids for those who don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with all your guys' points, Diego's points especially. I mean, I have one premier group right now this spring, and just like Diego said, I mean, you give them an instruction here or there, but for the most part, you want them to play. Like, the game is the game. You get them out there, you scrimmage. That's how they're gonna learn. And the premier group that I have, they're pretty competitive. They're pretty, and like they get upset if someone scores a goal on them, and they get all pouty. I'm like, just listen, like, this is part of the game. Like, we're here to have fun, but this is an opportunity for you. Like, how did they score that? Like, I always ask the questions, like, why did they score the goal? Like, I mean, but that's premier age kids. Obviously it's going to be different the younger we get. With the classics and the minis, it's a little bit different. I have a classic group where there's this one kid who is just levels above the rest, and it does not matter what team, like what combination of kids I put this one kid with, he scores like 3 or 4 goals every single time. Every time. And the parents see it, they're laughing because they know, like, they get it. And there's not much you can do, but and you try and encourage the other kids, like, and let them know, like, hey, like, do you see, like, what this kid is doing? Like, look what this, like Diego, you were touching on that, like, kind of watching other kids. And I think it's not just the coach, but just learning from other kids who just might be a little bit older, a little more experienced. So I've had just various different experiences with different kind of age groups, so it's always been interesting to see.
Can we stay with that for that, because that's an interesting thing. We've all been in the scenario where you've got the kid who's scoring 5 goals, right? And he's the one kid keeping score, and you and then in that same group, you've got another kid who's maybe not that ability or not that confident. Yep. And for the both of you, and maybe start with Diego, is how do you bring challenge? Let's just say, for example, you've got a group of 4-year-olds, and you've got that 4-year-old who's going on 7, and you can kind of see, and then you've got the 4-year-old who's just turned. How do you bring challenge to both of them in a constructive way in one group setting? I mean, how do you all handle that?
I think that's when I kind of get to have a little bit of fun with the child who's a little bit more advanced, because then I'll give him or her specifically, some challenges. Like if let's say that day we were doing passing and trapping. So it's like, hey, before you score a goal, let's do a pass and a trap with at least one of our teammates, and then you can go score another goal. Like do something before you score another goal. Make it like a video game to them and stuff like that, like a game, like a challenge and stuff like that. Or with the kid who isn't really involved, what I'll do is maybe if they get scored on, I'll always have them start out with the ball, kind of just like, hey, pass it off to your teammates, and then I'll run out with them a little bit, kind of just like try to get them involved in ways like that. Or I'll use that challenge that I gave the more advanced player to kind of move the ball towards the other child who hasn't been involved so much. Because if they're going to direct the game as it is, we can direct the game. We can use them in a sense to direct the game in the way we want it to go, to get all the kids involved. You just got to give them that little rule or something like that.
Yeah, I like that actually. I haven't thought about that myself, honestly, like giving those kids like different challenges, like especially during a scrimmage, like the more advanced kids, because usually what I will do is like I have this one kid who, he'll score 5 goals in a row, and like he runs around Soccer Island, he's bragging about it, he knows, he's like, oh, Coach Seth, I scored 5 goals. Like, he's like, it's 5-0. It's 5. Like, and that doesn't feel good for the other kids. So I always try and calm him down and be like, okay, like, good job. But, we're here to have fun. Like, look at this. So, but what I'll usually do is if it gets to an extreme point like that, where this one kid is just completely taking over, I kind of like to insert myself into the game, and then I'll play on the other team and try and help the other team kind of, obviously get down the field, score a goal. Obviously, I'm not going to like go and score myself, obviously not, but like, I'm going to.
Why not? I do that all the time. I'm with you for you.
Yeah, right. I honestly, I should at some points, but no, I like, I'll take the ball and I'll take the ball away from the kid that maybe scored like 4 or 5 goals already, and I'll be like, okay, I'll be like, come on, orange team, let's get down the field. I'll try and pass the ball. I'll encourage them to look for teammates and do certain moves or whatnot. But yeah, it is tricky, but I do like it's a little tricky to navigate, but I do like what you said about giving that one kid like a challenge that he has to follow compared to the rest of the kids. I might use that actually.
Yeah, I like that too, Diego. I usually I love that idea actually, the video game thing about all right, Diego, before you score a goal, you've got to do something like you said. I love that idea. Often what I do said is similar to you. I had a young girl last night who was doing scoring all these goals and running over right to me how many goals I scored. And so I just started stopping her, and I'd make her at least I'd kick it away, so she at least had to work hard to get the next goal.
Yeah.
You got to be careful there, because sometimes she was getting mad and stomping off.
Yeah.
I'd say, well, I'm doing that because you're pretty good scoring all those the parents didn't mind. They wanted to see their kid have to earn it a little bit. I've done sometimes at the end of the session, certain kids got to go one-on-one with me, or if it's that goal scoring, they've got to beat the Shanna monster to get past that goal. But to me, that's kind of the fun part. And I'd be curious, when you come and you look at a group, right, first week or something, I almost feel like I'm problem solving. All right, what's the challenge for me as a group? What do I got here? All right, you kind of see that kid, you got to see this kid, that kid. So what are the dynamics? And that's kind of the fun. How am I going to coach this particular group? And Dio, you've been described as one of our more creative coaches. We got the curriculum, but you're very creative. Like, tell it. I don't know. Maybe put you on the spot. What was your most creative session, or some of the fun things you've done when you've had this group and you've just gone? I won't say go rogue, but you've said I'm going Coach Diego here. I know there's a fun thing you do with the goals and that kind of stuff. Maybe speak to a couple of those.
There was one session. I don't remember if it was with Soccer Shots completely, but there was one session where it was at a school and we were playing on the gravel, and it just wasn't optimal for like soccer at all. So what we ended up doing was kind of playing like handball, but with our feet. And we were supposed to be doing passing and trapping that day. So kind of what I did was I had all the kids kind of like, how you play handball, you line up and you smack the ball at the wall. So what we were doing is we would go really far back because they were kicking it super hard, have them practice as best as they could, give the biggest kick they could do with their inside, run back to the line, and then the next kid would go. And that was I think that was one of the most like out of bounds, like not even close to the curriculum, but we got the inside going there, and the kids had a lot of fun. And nobody got hurt, thank God. We were just bouncing the soccer ball off the wall, and we ended up doing not really a scrimmage, but it was more sort of like I set up like a field and they couldn't cross the midfield line. It was like goalie wars basically. So like they were just shooting from far with their inside to try and like, score it in the goal, but they couldn't block it. So if it was rolling, you had to like jump over it and let it go and stuff like that. It was really fun.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. It's always interesting how, because actually I have a question for you, Diego. Kind of staying on this point. It's always interesting how, depending on the environment or the type of kids you have, the certain different groups, how flexible or adaptable you need to be with certain sessions, because obviously here at Soccer Shots, we have a curriculum, week in and week out, like there's a curriculum for you to follow. But I just wanted to ask you, how important is it for you, or just, for coaches in general, do you think, to be like flexible and adaptable? Like, because at least I notice, like, there's sometimes I'm doing a fun game with a group of kids and they are just not feeling it. It's just, they're not feeling it. It just doesn't work out. Like they either can't do it or they're not feeling it. And I'm like, I got to think on my feet. I'm like, okay, I got to come up with something else or change something or, whatever. So I just wanted to ask you, like, because, you've been here for quite a while, like how important is that flexibility and adaptability in coaching?
I think it's, at least for me, because I have been here, for a little bit with Soccer Shots, and like with my sessions personally, it's important for me, especially when I've had kids for, 2 years, 3 years now, that they're not getting the same exact, session, albeit like with the small changes. So I really try to just try my best to figure out different ways to implement our skills. And sometimes it may not even be a game that is specifically a soccer game, but you make it a soccer game. Like, like the kids at school, they play Gaga ball sometimes.
I love Gaga ball.
Yeah, exactly. So we play Gaga with our feet. You have to hit everybody.
That's
you can
awesome.
hit somebody's legs, but you got to hit it with your feet, with the inside of your foot, and stuff like that. So they're playing a game they already know.
Yeah.
But it's soccer now, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
and
yeah.
now they're learning. And so I try
Nice.
to just think of as many ways as possible that I can implement different skills that I've been doing with stuff that might be going on too. Like if I didn't do anything, but I know another coach, the Minecraft movie was just out and he did like a Minecraft game. So like if you get stuff like that where like the kids are, you kind of turn off the soccer in their mind for half a second and it's something else, you're tricking them almost into the learning part of it, which that's kind of why I try to keep that flexibility. So they're always like on their toes, new things. It's never like, stale for them. And it's never stale for me too. I kind of don't feel like a robot saying the same thing over and over and over again. I think that's another thing for coaches too, is like it'll get boring for you too. So you're going to want to think of different things to have fun for yourself as well, not just the kids.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Can someone tell the boomer here what is Gaga? What is was it? I'm thinking Lady Gaga is the only thing. What is the Gaga game?
It's like this octagonal pit.
Yeah.
It's like, these little walls. They're like shin height basically, and the kids just have to punch the ball while it's on the floor and like hit it into each other.
It's like you usually use like a kickball, right? Kind of like
or like one of the foam balls, the squishy ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
and all the kids have to be against the wall, and somebody will throw the ball in the pit, and it has to bounce 3 times, so it'll be like ga ga ga, and then the kids can go and attack it, and they have to smack the ball, and if is it under the knee? It has to hit them under the knee.
I always keep it. I don't even say under the knee. I say they have to keep it on the floor and hit the other foot. Like,
okay, yeah.
If I let them even think of getting the ball off
in the air,
then
yeah. No, that's true. So usually like if hit under the knee or just in the shoe, in the foot, whatever, like then they're out. They have to climb out of the octagon, and then it goes until there's
last
one
man
person
standing.
left, pretty much. So
I love that. There was a thing when I first got into this. I didn't know who SpongeBob was. No clue who SpongeBob was. But I knew every kid knew who SpongeBob was. So like I just went on Wikipedia and I just learned all the SpongeBob characters and would just say, all right, SpongeBob is right, and I would just weave that in, but also to make it just what you said, make it more fun for me, because so how am I going to make this more fun for me? And because it can get repetitious. You have 3-4 groups in a row and you're trying to do the same thing, and it just taps into the kids' imagine, whether it's Minecraft or Gaga Bar or what have you. That's pretty good way to do it. Yeah. What is I guess, Diego, the biggest difference you see between the age groups in terms of your style of coaching? You alluded to it a little bit earlier, but with twos, the obviously the expectations are a little bit different than say a 6-year-old. How do you change your coaching style a little bit? Are you doing Minecraft? Are you as creative with the older kids you are with, say, 2-year-olds?
Honestly, I think I have to be more creative with the older kids than I have to do with the 2-year-olds, because the 2-year-olds, as long as I'm just like loud and animated and getting them to look my direction and focus on me, I'm winning. But with the older kids, it's more than just that, like really keeping them their head focused in on me, and thinking about what we're doing and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely I try to what's the right word? Just think of more different things and ways to keep the older kids more interactive than the 2-year-olds. The 2-year-olds is I feel like, as long as and I do have a lot of help from the parents at the park sessions too. Shout out to the parents who come to the park sessions.
Absolutely.
You guys are a big help, because keeping those little guys locked in is definitely more of just sound and movement than ideas of stuff. Like, they may know Bluey and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's more so the older guys guys and girls that I try to think of new stuff for them to have fun with.
Yeah.
In that sense.
So what do you think for you personally? Say, think back to when you were young Diego, or you're still young Diego, and you first got into coaching and young kids. How have you changed as a coach over the years? What have you gotten better at, or what have you learned about yourself? And then kind of where do you feel like your own growth areas as a coach are?
I think, well, personally, I would say my coaching like kind of started even before I even knew I was coaching, in a sense. Like, my father was in charge of my younger brother's soccer team for our soccer club, and I was always on the sidelines every game with them. I had my own card so that I could be on the sidelines with them because I was just a part of the team at that point. Like, I was helping the kids warm up, or I was the goalie for my team, so I would teach the goalie for my brother's team how to dive properly, or if you're gonna come out properly, like stuff like that. So I always kind of enjoyed it, and then once I couldn't play anymore and I knew I wanted to still be involved, it was more so just transferring what I kind of already knew and making it more like professional, in a sense. Like, that was just with kids that I knew from around the block, so I was being silly and goofy with them, so because I know them. So now I got to tune that up a little bit to where I'm meeting kids that I don't know. Got to keep it more so that I don't freak them out by being silly like that and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely just kind of transferring, and it's transferring what you know from soccer already, I think, is the most important part, and what you know from life too. You're teaching these kids not just how to play soccer, but how to be good kids too. Like, at least that's what it is for me. Like, we have our words of the day, like, the sharing, the polite, and all the other words. Like, we have those words for a reason. So, it's also, teaching them that everything extends outside from soccer as well.
Who was a coach in your life that had the biggest impact on you as a person and or as an athlete, or wrestling, soccer?
Yeah, definitely my wrestling coach. His name was Mr. Rogan, Coach Rogan. He's a great guy. He was very hands-on guy. So even though he was, like, God bless him, he was very old, but he would get down on the mats with us and really, like, get in there and hurt us. And that's what I love the most, is somebody who can get in there and doesn't care about anything. If somebody's watching, they don't care. Like, they'll just do their thing because they enjoy what they're doing, and I enjoy what I'm doing. So I just go in there. I teach the kids what I love. I love soccer. I want American soccer to become as good as it should be, and it all starts with the little guys. We're the first step in that.
I agree. Completely agree.
Seth, who's the coach you point back to as a game changer in your life?
Oh, that's a good question. If I had to say a coach, I would probably say my high school track coach, Coach Graca. Coach Graca was a great guy. He was my coach for all 4 years in high school when I did both indoor and outdoor track. And as much as I would want to say a soccer coach, I never had the best soccer coaches growing up, to be honest. They were not the best guys, but I would say my track coach, he really inspired me to stay in shape and, like, work hard to continue to be able to play the sport I love, which is because I mainly did track to be able to stay in shape for soccer. And he really, like, just was a big inspiration in kind of my fitness, health and wellness journey, like, from, like, all throughout high school. So definitely him.
Awesome. So hey, I know we only have a few minutes left, but I thought we played like some rapid fire questions, so folks get to know Diego a little bit. All right.
Okay.
So Diego, first answer that comes to your head, right? Your favorite color. What is your favorite color?
Blue. Right now, blue.
Miracle Whip or mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise. Hellman's mayonnaise.
That's a good one. Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni, but it's got to have hot honey also, not just pepperoni. Pepperoni with hot
Good
honey.
man. Good man. Yes, absolutely. The hot honey is so good. Oh,
Yeah. Hot honey
All
and
right.
pepperoni is together. It's
we're
the
gonna have
best.
to. Guess we're gonna have
All
to
right.
share a pizza one day.
All right. What kind of bread on your sandwich?
Definitely Italian bread. I'm from Long Island.
All right.
Nice,
All
nice
right.
Italian hero. What's it called? Semolina hero. That's what it's called.
All right.
Ooh, okay.
Favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
Love Spider-Man.
Here we
You could
go.
have one superpower. What would it be?
Oh, God. I'd probably want Spider-Man's powers.
Spider-Man's powers.
Yeah.
I
All
like
right.
that.
All right. Last one. Favorite soccer player, Ronaldo or Messi or other?
Favorite player of all time is Ronaldinho. I love Messi,
Ronaldinho.
but Ronaldinho, he's the guy who I started watching soccer whenever I was younger, and I would score. I would always do his celebration like that. That was, yeah, I think if he didn't party too much, he'd be the best player who ever lived.
I've heard that
Could
from
be.
a lot of people. I like a player called Johan Cruyff. Maybe y'all have heard
I know
of him.
Cruyff. I'm a Barcelona fan.
No,
Cruyff,
that's right.
he's a Barca legend.
All right. All right. So Seth, I think Diego's got to get out to a session, and so do you. Both of you got a couple this afternoon, and this
Yeah, I gotta head
90
out
some
soon.
odd, 90 some odd degree heat. So so I know you're going to wrap it up, but Diego, thanks we've been trying to connect with you, and thanks for everything you've done for Soccer Shots. I can remember when you first got here, we were looking for volunteers to do something in a training, and you confidently raised your hand up, and we said that this guy's gonna be really good for us. So and you've gone the extra mile for us over and over. And
thank you guys for having me. It was cool chatting.
Personally want to thank you. So all right, so I'm gonna turn it back over to our guy here, Seth W.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Diego. We appreciate you joining us. But before you leave, just gonna close it out here. Shannon, I gotta ask you, how can our listeners find out more information or get involved with Soccer Shots?
Yeah, so Seth, you were telling me about this thing called the internet. So they can find it at soccershots.com and kind of type in your zip code or Soccer Shots CT and find us there. And you can also go to our Instagram, Soccer Shots Central Connecticut and Soccer Shots Greater Hartford, where you can see some of our previous podcasts and find locations and ask us questions through CT at soccershots.com. So we're easy to find, and we try to get back to you as soon as we can. We've got, given the rain that you all alluded to, we're kind of trying to puddle through our last few weeks of the season here, and summer's upon us, and pretty soon a fall will be right on us. So we're ready to go. And if you're interested in being like Coach Diego and joining Soccer Shots, we're always looking for great people who want to influence kids. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, so we want to thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the 4th episode of the Soccer Shots Greater Hartford Central Connecticut podcast. If you liked the video, please give it a like, comment what soccer-related topics you would like us to talk about next, and most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is Seth, Shannon, and Diego signing off, and remember,
1, 2, 3,
always
Soccer
enjoy
Shots,
the beautiful game.